Hey guys, so yeah, this chapter was a thing. Yeah. Um, okay, so just getting right into the weeds of it, um, we obviously have to talk about that ending. And while I hate to burst everyone's excitement on this, I'm not convinced that's even a little bit. Because the thing is, when it comes to a review like this, it sort of reminds me that for as fantastical as One Piece is and has gotten with things like time travel and all that, there are still a few set rules of this world that Oda has stuck by, and one is that when you die, you die. There's no coming back from that. And even though Oda did definitely kind of skirt by that rule somewhat, but by not showing Odin's dead body specifically, I find it so hard to believe that Odin actually survived, especially considering the very graphic boiling, well, the very graphic like boiling that his execution was. Um, on top of that, in terms of like bringing him back in this way, I feel I feel that bringing Odin back in this way would kind of undercut the pretty much sacrifice he pretty much made in order to make all of what's currently going on happen. And as we've seen from past instances in the series, that Oda's like the thing about this reveal for me is that the biggest thing of all with this thing for me is that Oda's handled the whole return from death trope with a lot more tact that in other cases of the series than this. Like this is the most blatant this is the most blatant return from death I've seen in One Piece. And to that degree, I have to say this is not real. Like this is not the real Odin. Like something that right off the bat from the very beginning that page was shown, I was like, something is off here. Something isn't right. This can't be Odin. Like it almost immediately there was kind of this unsettling feeling like, okay, so okay, whoever even though this Odin had helped save the Yakuza 9, I not fully believe that this is Odin. Honestly, like I'm just not. I don't know what it. Something just from the moment that page showed up, something already felt off. Plus, I'll obviously the most obvious thing to say about this, which is he looks exactly the same as he did 20 years ago. Like this Odin has not aged, and so no, I'm not buying into the idea that from Shitoki that from Shitoki had sent him to the future with the others. So I guess that kind of only begs the question of what's going on here. And honestly, that's kind of where I'm drawing a blank because honestly, on a general level, I genuinely believe that what's going on here and who this Odin is basically it's all like an illusion or a disguise or something like that. I genuinely believe it's kind of in that range of explaining how Odin is here. But as far as who's doing this, what's going on, I'm not entirely sure, to be frank. Like I don't know like what the like I do, again I don't know. I don't believe Odin again. I don't believe Odin is alive, but I don't know what the explanation for this is gonna be. Like it's something where I genuinely have to wait for the next chapter in order to truly know what the hell's going on here. Um, of course, as we know, like One Piece is going on break after this week. So yeah, just pretty much fuck you Oda on that one. So yeah, but yeah, I genuinely I don't think Oda is alive. I genuinely don't. Um, but yes, sorry, I had to go on that little tangent about it. Uh, with that said, let's talk about Chopper because he once again got his moment to shine. And going off what I said last week, pretty much finding a way to counteract the virus by using the virus itself is not only brilliant, but it's once again a demonstration of just how skilled Chopper is and how far he's come as a doctor. But on top of that, it also shows a lot of personal growth too, because the fact that he chose a route that basically cured everyone kind of shows just how seriously that Chopper has, like, Chopper's always taken his mandate as a doctor seriously, but I think that this is like the biggest turning point where he's like, I don't care, friend or foe, I am saving everyone. It's my duty as a doctor in order to do it. I mean, yes, Kaido's crew are still technically enemies, but he still chose to cure them, not only because he realized how much of a danger the virus was, but just because, as a doctor, he swore to save as many lives as possible. And I also like how Chopper's actions in this chapter play heavily into the vow he made before the, like, in the like before the time skip, about his and his dream, and how it also plays into his dream, which is to become a doctor who could cure any disease. And just by the simple act of making the antidote into a mist and turning it into something that can affect the entire area and cure a large and can cure like anyone and can cure like a large swath of people. That in itself is a large step towards his goal of being a doctor that can cure anything. It's really kind of a great turning point for Chopper's character, and I love it. And again, I'm not saying, I'm just loving the kind of I'm just loving the kind of like I'm just loving the kind of stuff we're getting, that Oda's giving Chopper here, because it feels like, again, Chopper's been on the back burner for a while, ever since the time skip began. But Wano has felt like kind of his arc in many respects, just as much as it has been for any of the other Straw Hats. Um, and I also love the sort of ironic twist of taking something normally used for destruction, in this case a cannon, and using it as a means to cure everyone, sort of like an oversized vaccination shot. And yeah, the mushroom cloud at Chopper's face is absolutely, without a doubt, the most ridiculous thing I've seen in One Piece so far, and I kind of love it for that. Like, that is like holy shit, that Chopper's face on a mushroom cloud, that is fucking hilarious, and it's yeah. Uh, Also, with Chopper having taken this huge leap, I'm convinced more than ever that he has the means to cure Wano of their, like, smile sickness. So yeah, just all around some pretty much great Chopper development for him. Um, Moving on from that, though, we get an interesting conversation with CP0, and just from the sounds of it, like, just how, like, they're talking about Punk Hazard, the smiles, all that, just just from their conversation, it almost sounds like the Straw Hat Alliance basically dodged a huge bullet. Because if I'm understanding the conversation correctly, the smiles in their current form are basically created from Kaido's blood. But the smiles themselves were never fully, like, synthesized, and were never fully developed to begin with. And that does kind of go a little, and honestly, that kind of explains a few things more appropriately, the reason as to why many of Kaido's crew end up with weirdly deformed animal appearances. And but the thing is, if that is only a fraction of the potential the Smiles had, imagine what would have happened to Kaido's crew had the Smiles been fully developed. It's terrifying and strange to imagine, but in a weird way, the current form of the Smiles has made Kaido's army more manageable compared to how powerful they could have been had Caesar, like, finished his research. So yeah, when you look at it, if Luffy and Law had acted any later, then it would have it would gave it would have been game over for them. And that, like, I think it was like 30% that Law had initially said their chances of defeating Kaido. If they hadn't acted sooner, then if they hadn't acted any later, then that 30% would have been even lower. Would have potentially been even lower, like probably 0% at worst and maybe 5% at best. Although this, at the same time, this reveal does also put in perspective that the chances of success, I think, have always been lower than 30. Like, I think 30 was definitely a bit of a bit of an optimistic point of view on the last part, and I think it still is lower than 30, but I think it's still a more manageable percentage now compared to how still more manageable than how it would have been had they acted any later. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and also Crunchyroll. That's not even me. Signing off. Later, guys.